Yeah, this is not a new series to be, well, it is, but not exactly. I'm only doing this for one of the subscribers. Not only that, I think this is a change of pace. So I could just freestyle this one. I don't really have to think about like how things are gonna go and shit like that. So I don't really have to go with like the whole plot and stuff like that. So like, just skip shit. So yeah, certain things I will be skipping. So basically, what if this is possibly, if possible, keyword if possible, I want to make this a one shot. So I don't know. Okay then. So this is what if Deku was Shazam. Alright, originally what we know about Shazam was, well, the Greek gods. Well, that's Billy's Shazam. The Greek gods, then there's Black Adam's Shazam, which is the Egyptian gods. Basically, the two of them have the powers of, well, the gods of their respective, well, mythologies, basically. But I'd like to change something up. Yeah, I'd like to change something up. So, instead of him just being like Shazam, like the Greek Shazam, I want him to have all the Shazams. Alright? And I don't mean just the two I just stated. No. I mean as in like Chinese mythology, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the main four, alright? Just those main four. So, yeah, I'm going for those main four. Why? Like, let's be honest, like, I don't know if people have thought about this, but like, if they added the Greek gods and stuff like that and the Egyptian gods, they're definitely like there's a high chance that there's one for at least the other gods. So, yeah. So, now the only reason I added the reason I added Norse mythology, like, alright, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know much about Norse mythology. Well, it's not that I don't know much, I know most of the gods, well, at least the well-known ones to be exact. Know somewhat about them, like Thor, Loki, Hela, and stuff like that. But let's be honest here, dude. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the people that actually like Norse mythology. It's just that I don't listen to much of Norse mythology. I'm mostly into Chinese mythology. Yeah, mostly into Chinese mythology, Greek mythology. So anything about Egyptian mythology, you wouldn't see me like. Alright, I know a lot of things. I know some stuff about Egyptian mythology. I know about Ra, Osiris, and stuff like that. So, yeah. But I'm not really one to at least judge somebody else's preferences. So, let's not do the same for me. So, how is this gonna go? Oh dear, oh dear. Now, Deku with the ability. Now, Shazam, when you say Shazam, you actually get the ability, well, the powers of the Greek gods. Well, not exactly the power, but their strength. The only god that you actually get the ability from is the lightning god. And you don't even get the full extent of their power. Let's be honest here. Would you really want the power of Zeus? That's probably one of the most dangerous powers to have. Alright then, so instead of it going like, oh, Shazam and Black Adam's shit, like, oh, shit, getting the god's strength and stuff like that, and the lightning god's lightning, Deku's gonna get all the god's strengths and weaknesses, their abilities. Well, not the weaknesses, but the abilities nonetheless. Why am I not giving him the weaknesses? Well, because he'll find a way to at least get rid of the weaknesses. So, yeah. Now, Deku, he's gonna look like this, alright? You know, I was thinking that bottom part should go, but I'm too lazy to edit this picture. Should I? Nah, I'll leave it there. So, basically, Deku, he doesn't really care. Deku's just like regular in the anime. He's regular in the anime and shit like that, with the green hair and all and stuff like that. So, you know, nothing's changed, alright? Nothing's changed. No Inko being abusive, no other siblings. Yeah, I'm actually going with the plot. So, basically, Deku's always wanted to be a hero and shit like that. So, he's gonna get, like, his powers at a young age. Even younger than Billy. I think Billy was about, like, 12 or 13. I think he was 13. I don't know exactly. Possibly 12 or 10. Who knows? But Deku's gonna get it when he is 5. Not 4, 5. So everything went as canon until Deku was, well, formed. Except for, well, the whole, like, Izuku's reactions about, like, how Bakugo treats him. Now, ever since, like, he turned 4 and being known as quirkless and stuff like that, getting bullied by Bakugo, Deku has been falling into a constant state of despair. Well, not as in Dungeon Rappa's state of despair, but despair nonetheless. He's been discouraged multiple times, and it's gotten to his head that, oh shit, he can't be a hero, and it's really been hurting his feelings. It's been hurting his feelings and many more, so it's really been hurting him. So, basically, Deku, he says, alright, then I'll just give up on being a hero and not care. But deep inside, even though Deku keeps ignoring it and denying it, there's that one part inside of his body, alright? One half of Deku's body. Just one half of Deku's body that keeps telling him, that just keeps crying out to him, saying, I want to be a hero. I want to be the strongest hero, the best hero. I want to save everyone. Yeah, you really thought I was going to say the richest hero just because I said the strongest hero, right? No. As basically, this happened since Deku was, like, ever since he turned 4. Alright, ever since he was getting discouraged and stuff like that. And basically, those cries got louder and louder. Not by the day, not by the hour, not by the minute, no, by the millisecond. It got louder and louder by the millisecond. And that's because by each millisecond, Deku's dreams, his hopes, his beliefs, his thoughts on that dream of being a hero to save everyone, he's getting further and further and further away from that dream. He's to the point where if he never got the powers to begin with, he probably wouldn't even decide to be a regular citizen. He'd just commit suicide. Right when Bakugo told him, why don't you just take a swan dive off the roof of the building? He would have done it. But anyways, by the time where Deku is at least about to turn 6. Alright, about to turn 6. Deku's about to turn 6, because remember, I think his birthday's in June. Yeah, it's in June. June 15th. Possibly. As basically, he's about to turn 6. Alright, he's about to turn 6, as basically, that's when it happens. The cries of that side of his heart have gotten so loud that it even started to reach the gods. To the point where they not only hear the side that wishes to be a hero, but the sadness in the other side of Deku's heart that also wants to be a hero, but it's clouded by negative thoughts, negative judgment, and stuff like that, and negative comments. So, the gods wanted to know what to do. As basically, the gods, like each god from their respective places, Odin, Zeus, the Jade Emperor, and Ra. Yeah, and Ra, they just look. They look at Izuku's life to see how things are. As basically, they all see that Izuku's heart is pure. Alright, they didn't think much at first, because, well, having a pure heart is to be expected as a child, because, well, most of the things that you do in your life as a child is not really intentional, let's be honest here. Like, oh, you're a 4-year-old kid, you're a 5-year-old kid, anything you do for that time period, it's not intentional. You don't have any intent to do it, you're not purposefully doing it. No, you're just doing it because of instinct. You want to have fun, you're trying to enjoy your childhood and stuff like that, have the best childhood that you can. So, it's not really intentional, so you can't really be blamed for that. It's basically, the gods are not really, well, expecting anything, and they're like, okay, alright, let's just let this kid go. Alright, we don't care. It's not like he's just pure as he should be as a little kid. But the moment they tried to turn away and stopped looking at Izuku's heart, the cries got louder and louder. They got even louder, to the point where it started echoing through their respective mythology, like their whole land. For the Jade Emperor, it started getting louder to the point where they started to hear the heart of Izuku's heart from, the heavens and the earths, from, well, Asgard, basically. All of Asgard's hearing Izuku's heart and shit like that. So, then it's all going around in, well, Greek and, shit, what was that place called? Damn. Freyagard, Midgard, and I forgot the I forgot the other one. Hell, oh fuck it. Let's be honest here. I can't say it. I'm not even gonna think about it. Basically, hell. All right. And then there's Egypt, the underworld, and, well, the skies. All right, because I don't think that Egypt has ever stated anything about heaven, but I haven't. I'll probably research this if I have to make a part 2 about this, but who knows? It's basically, yeah, as basically they then realize that it's not that he's pure. It's not that Izuku is pure. It's just that his heart refuses to get tainted. It refuses to get tainted, but the person that holds this heart inside of them is the one that's being tainted. Not he's the one being tainted by other people. As they started to realize that his heart would never give up, even if he gave up, his soul would never give up. As then they finally realized that Deku, or also known as Izuku Midoriya, is worthy of their power. But what they don't know is that he's not worthy of just their power, but their entire existence in his own right. As basically, at the same time, all of them say the name Izuku Midoriya. As the moment that happens, Izuku, he's in class right now. He's in class, sad as hell, depressed as hell, not knowing what it is to have depression, but he just knows that he's really sad. He doesn't know it's depression, he just knows it's really sad. As he passes out in class. And for the first time, while he's passing out, he sees his class actually start to worry about him. Something that, well, nobody in his class ever does. Now, it's not that they're worried about him. They're just worried about, what would happen. Like, the school could get sued and shit like that. So they're mostly worried about the school, not really Izuku's well-being. For all they care, Izuku could die. But they're fearful of getting sued by Ingo. So, So, basically, Izuku, he wakes up. Alright? He wakes up in not a temple, not the temple of Shazam. Why? Because, well, that shit's pretty small for all those gods that are in there, so yeah. So, basically, it's really quiet. I shouldn't be speaking though. I'm lonely as hell. But anyways, yeah, so basically Deku, he wakes up, right? He wakes up not in a white room, not in a temple, but it's a really big room. A really, really big room. Practically a room that has practically infinite of dimensions. I think Freya is a part of Greek mythology, and I'm only bringing in the powers from Danmachi Freya. If you don't know what Danmachi is, it's an anime formerly known as Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon? So, yeah. Danmachi is the Japanese name. So, basically, yeah, I'm taking that Freya's abilities, but all the other abilities, I'll see what I can do. So, basically, Deku wakes up in this really big room that has practically infinite space. As Deku, he looks and, Deku is a really small kid, so he sees these big people, actually taller than his mother. Not to the point where, they're infinite size or anything like that, no. They're like regular sizes. You would, imagine them to be human. If they're gonna talk to a human, they might as well be his size. So he's kind of scared. So Deku, he's kind of scared because he's seeing these big people that are taller than his mom. He's able to handle people at the same height as his mom, or at least like 1 or 2 inches above her height. But these people are at least 6 feet and up, so he's kind of frightened because he doesn't know what to do. Not only that, he's even more frightened because he sees, the people with the animal heads, so he's kind of scared even more, and he doesn't know what to do. As basically, that's when he hears something Nah, you wouldn't think that he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, he absolutely doesn't know what's going on because he hears four voices says, "What the hell? Why are you here?" As basically Deku looks and he sees these four men, four big ass men, possibly the tallest ones out of all of them. Well, second tallest. Tallest is obviously, well, Buddha. Tallest is Buddha. Third tallest is Sun Wukong. Yeah, Sun Wukong's a part of it because, well, he is a part of it. He's a god as well. He's a god killer, but also, I think he wasn't given the title of god, but I think he's a god. He would be seen as a god, let's be honest here. He'd be seen as a god. I still view him as a monkey, as the Monkey King, not really a god. So I don't know, but you know, I'll just do it. Actually, just a few days back, somebody wrote in the comments. I forgot which video it is, but they asked me why I always do a harem, like a ship with more than one girl. And I told him this. I'll be honest with you. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, like any of you. I told him if I don't think you looked at the comment, but I'll tell you like in the video right now. It's not that I don't want to make a video with one ship. It's that I can't. All right. It's not that I'm not allowing myself to. No. It's your fellow subscribers. I don't think they would accept me making one ship unless it's Mirako and possibly Momo or Ino. So I don't know exactly. You should speak amongst yourselves whether it's okay for me to do one ship or not. So yeah. So basically, that's what happened. So yeah. So basically, Deku, he continues to look, alright? He continues to look as basically one of the men, which is Zeus, says, "Well, I thought he was a worthy candidate for my ability, for, well, Shazam contract, as basically, the seven evils don't exist, alright? The seven evils don't exist, because, well, it's a part of hell, so I don't know. Yeah. As basically, oh yeah, fun fact. I don't think most people probably don't know this, but Hades is not the ruler of hell. Yeah, in Greek mythology, he's not actually the ruler of hell. He never was, and I don't think he ever will be. The actual ruler of hell is actually it's the seven deadly sins. Yeah, it's seven deadly sins that are the rulers of hell. Hades is the guardian of hell. Like, he's the guardian of hell. Like, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, they're not the rulers of their specific territories. They're the guardians. Like, respectfully, they're the guardians. So, yeah. For the seas, the ruler is the Atlanteans, and Neptune is obviously the ruler. Then for the skies, I don't exactly know who the skies is. I honestly don't. I think the sky is the Jade Emperor, since, well, no, let's be honest here. Zeus could completely clap the Jade Emperor. The skies is Buddha. Now, it's not exactly the skies, it's practically all of existence. Well, it's split between Buddha and the Monkey King. Buddha keeps things in check. Sun Wukong is the more physical one. If they go out of order, he goes bashing their heads in. So, yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So basically, after Zeus said that, the other two nod in agreement, which is what was that nigga's name again? Thor's father. What was that nigga's name again? What was that nigga's name again? Hold up. Odin, yes. It's so useful to know Thor's name, his full name. Because if I did not say that Odin's son part, I would not have remembered Odin. And then, well, the Jade Emperor obviously agreed. So, yeah. I'm not saying that nigga's name. His name is long as hell, and it's easy to forget, and I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that shit. I'm not risking it. But anyways, no. It's basically, yes, I have a lot of pictures. Not as much that are in the camera roll. But anyways, yeah. It's basically Deku. He continues to, well, just listening on their conversation. He sees that, yeah, it's gotten louder, like, real quick. Like, Zeus is talking, the many of the gods are talking, because, well, they're not from the same place, so obviously, well, it's new territory to them, but not exactly new. As you know, they're talking and shit like that. Freya, Aphrodite, talking to each other, because, well, goddesses of beauty. One of the two are the ships, but anyways, I'll let you guess for now. As basically, yeah. As basically, Deku, confused as hell, out of instinct, like purely out of instinct, doesn't know what's going on, but wants to know what's going on, but kind of frightened, but he finally decides to actually listen to the voice inside of his heart and yell out, "Hey!" As basically all the chattering stops, like it got silent real quick. As basically Deku's kind of frightened by this, because silence is never a good thing, let's be honest here. Silence is never a good thing. Unless it's silence coming from me. But anyways, yeah. It's basically Deku, he's kind of frightened, stumbles back, scared as hell. As, the four main gods, that means Zeus, Jade Emperor, Odin, and Ra, look as basically Zeus says, right. As basically Zeus says, "Young Izuku Midoriya, you have been chosen by me to become my champion." As Deku says, what? As basically Ra said, whoa there, Zeus, hold on there. He's also been chosen by all of us. Hold on. As basically the Jade Emperor says, "Yes, Zeus, he is correct. You can't just take the initiative." As basically, that's when Odin says, "Why don't... Oh, you old geezers. Why don't we just let the kid choose which one of us he will choose? Depending on who he chooses, depends on who he picks." As basically, they all reach out their hand. As basically, they said, "Come, Izuku Midoriya." They thought that he was just gonna pick one. Hold on. And we're back. So, yeah, they thought that Deku was just gonna pick one of them. But to their surprise, Deku did something unexpected. That not only surprised the four, but basically all the gods there. Including Hades, who... I wouldn't expect Hades to be surprised, because that man, like, let's be honest here, Hades is a smartass. Like, Hades is a smartass. Hades is a smartass. Freya's a smartass. It'd be the least suspecting niggas, like, it'd be the least suspecting gods in mythology that are the smartasses. As even Odin is surprised by this, and this nigga's the god of knowledge. So the fact that he didn't see this coming, it says something. He grabs Zeus's hand. Zeus thought that he won, but then he placed it on, well, the Jade Emperor's hand, as the Jade Emperor was confused about what's going on here. Then he grabbed Odin's hand, and he placed it on, what was that nigga? What was the on Ra's hand, as he took all hands and he put them together. As he says, "I pick all of you." As Odin, his eyes widen. Since he's the god of knowledge, he felt that he had the right, like, that he needed, no, not the right, but he needed to ask this question. As basically, Odin asks, "Boy, why did you pick all of us?" As Izuku, young but smart, says this. why are you fighting against one another? Yeah, since he was in that depressed state, he thought, I don't really care about becoming a hero. Let's just think academically. So, you know, he's a straight A student, so, he's gonna stay that way. As he says, what's the point of, fighting with each other to give a power when you can both, when all four of you can give it to the same person at the same time? Even if they're both, you look like really strong people, so maybe you can help the person. And having many other powers is, it gives me a variety of abilities to use. Not only that, you guys seem really strong, so if you got mad and started a fight, it'd probably have a bad effect on the world. As Odin, his eyes widen even more, because not even he thought that far ahead of the outcome that would happen if the four of them actually fought. As Odin, he sighs as he says, this boy has taken even my title away from me. I, Odin, the god of knowledge, don't even deserve to be called the god of knowledge. As when he hears Odin, Izuku, he says, huh? As they all look at Izuku and they said, what's wrong? As Izuku says, Odin? As in the god of knowledge, Odin? As in father of Thor and Loki, Odin? As in ruler of Asgard? As Odin, he smiles and he says, oh, so you've heard of me. As he says, yeah, then who are you guys? As Zeus, he scratches his temple and he says, right. We forgot to introduce ourselves, as Zeus is not as old as he is in Record of Ragnarok, because the funny thing is, Zeus actually keeps the same appearance he had ever since he beat Kronos, since when he did that, he took time from Kronos. Not Kronos' time to live, but he took Kronos' time affinity, so he took the ability of time from Kronos. It's basically, Zeus says, oh, we haven't introduced ourselves. As basically, they all stand up straight as Ra, in his tone, Ra says, I am the god, well, if you have already guessed, knowing as well, since, hold on. So, yeah, it's basically, Odin, as basically Ra says, guessing by if you thought clearly, that means everybody here is a god. As Deku is even more surprised and he stumbles out. Stumbles down, not out of shock, but out of fear now. Cause, he just yelled at gods so he's kind of frightened. As basically, as Zeus says, ho, why are you scared, little man? As Odin, he's thinking about it as he finally realizes, I see it now. It's about what happened earlier when he yelled out, hey. He's frightened because he didn't know we were gods. I say this boy truly is worthy of that heart of his. He even had the courage to yell at gods. Even more admirable, as Thor says, indeed, father, he is admirable. As Izuku, he says, who are you? As Thor goes to Izuku and picks him up. As he says, me, my dear boy, I'm Thor. As Izuku says, Thunder God Thor? As Thor says, judging as how you know of me, then you must know of all of us. As Izuku silently nods as he says, yes, as he blushes a little bit. As Odin says, this boy has done his share of studying. Interesting indeed. as basically Deku, he says thank you, as anyways, as basically Zeus says, well, let's get on with the introductions, shall we? We're gonna introduce like the gods that we actually care about here, like not like the gods that barely had an impact on, like the gods that actually like that barely had screen time in mythology. So it's basically it's basically it's basically oh shit, I'm sorry. This is a habit. This is becoming a habit now. So anyways, finally, yeah, I'm not used to saying so anyways. It's mostly just basically this, basically that, and stuff like that. So yeah. So anyways, I almost forgot. I was about to say so basically. Anyways, basic. I'm starting to hate this habit. It's hard to interact with you guys. Anyways, Deku, he listens attentively as he's still in Thor's hand, as Ra says, I am the Egyptian god of all gods, also known as the sun god Ra. It's nice to meet you, young man. As Deku shakes his hand and says hi, as basically, then the Jade Emperor says, I am the god of, well, heaven. The Jade Emperor, or the Heavenly Emperor. But Jade for short, only for you, as Deku says, okay, as basically Zeus says, well, if you haven't guessed it, I am, well, the famous Zeus, as basically Deku chuckles a little bit, as basically immediately he gets grabbed by two girls, and those two girls are Aphrodite and, well, Freya, as Thor, he's over here looking at his hands as he says, huh? Lady Freya, how could you do this? You could have just asked, as Freya says, sorry Thor, but he's ours now, as he says, hi, as they look at Izuku with curiosity, cause, well, he's not being affected by, well, their aphrodisiacs, as they're wondering why, as basically, they said, hi there, I'm Freya, as basically, the other one says, well, oh, who was the other one? I'm Aphrodite. As basically, Deku says, hi. As basically, they then continue to Hades, Poseidon, shit like that. And yeah, like Hades, Poseidon, Beastis. So I'd like to clarify some things. Alright, I'll be clarifying some things. First of all, Heros is still a thing. Now, at first, I was contemplating whether Heros should be a thing or not. If you don't know who Heros is, it's basically Cupid, the little baby. Yeah, that's Aphrodite's son. It's Aphrodite and Zeus' son. I was contemplating whether he should exist, so you should be getting the hint now. Aphrodite is one of the ships. There's only 2 ships for this one. 2. All right, 2. I'm gonna keep it that way on purpose. All right, I don't care if it pisses you off. It's gonna stay like that. So yeah, you can come fight me in the comments, but I assure you, you're not gonna win. It's basically Deku. It's basically, yeah. So I was contemplating whether Heros should exist or not, which means, well, Zeus and Freya did the thing. So I was contemplating whether she should exist. So, but I came with a coping mechanism. I came up with a coping mechanism. Instead of them having to do the nasty, they combined their powers. Not a big amount, but a small amount nonetheless, to at least create some form of life form, including the power of Gaia, the mother of creation, as basically he was able to, well, create heroes. So, yeah, that's kind of how it is. It's basically, yeah, so That's kind of how it is. It's basically Deku. He does that. Now, basically, next we have it's basically, yeah. So basically Deku no, wait, no, not Deku. Yeah, so back to Greek mythology. Ares and Aphrodite will not be a thing. Hephaestus, Aphrodite being married, not a thing. If you didn't know, Hephaestus and Aphrodite are married, but you know, Aphrodite gotta be a slut on the side, so she with Ares. I'm not gonna say no offense, because if God's mad at me, he would have struck me with lightning the first time I ever said anything disrespectful about gods. That has yet to happen for the last 7 years of my life. I'm alive and well. So, yeah. Aphrodite here and stuff like that won't be a thing. Persephone and Hades will definitely be a thing. Actually, out of all the marriages in Greek mythology, that's probably my favorite. My least favorite, by far. My least favorite by far. Oh, it's Zeus and Hera. Alright, let's be honest here. It's Zeus and Hera. It's Zeus and Hera. That's my least favorite one. Why? Just one word will explain everything to you. Incest. Alright? That's all. I won't be explaining anything. Alrighty then. That's done. But I'm still confused how Zeus can be called one of the 3 eldest gods in Greek mythology. That nigga's the youngest out of all his family members. But, you know, we don't care. It's basically, you know, they decide to actually talk to Deku. It's basically he was introduced to the 7 deadly sins by Hades and stuff like that. He met Buddha. Now Buddha is not the same Buddha as in God of High School, but also not the one as in not Tower of God. What was it? Records of Ragnarok. He's more of a chill person. He still has the same fashion sense as in Buddha in Records of Ragnarok, but less of the whole hyper and shit like that. So he's more of a calm person, not that much of a carefree person, because he's cautious at times, because he has to keep, well, the world in check and shit like that. So yeah, as then he introduced himself to Izuku, as Izuku, you know, grabbing onto Buddha's pointer finger, says, "You're really big." As Buddha chuckles at this and he says, "Indeed I am." But as he snaps and he turns to normal size as he takes young Izuku from, well, the 2 girls, as he's about to put Izuku on his shoulders, but Izuku gets swooped down as swooped from Buddha's hands, as basically he's in somebody's hand, but this hand doesn't look to be, well, a human's hand, and it has a lot of hair. As he says, "Buddha, you're still too slow." As Buddha smirks and says, all right, don't frighten the kid now, Wukong." As Wukong says, yeah, I won't hurt him. As Wukong stops in his tracks and he says, I forgot the staff's name. I don't want to say the names though. Oh dear God. I don't want to say them. Oh. Hold on. Shit is called Rui Jingu Bang. Oh my God. Simple name. Rui. As Wukong says, Rui expand, as you know, it expands. Not extends, expands. There's a difference. Extends to get longer. Expand to get wider. The more you know. It's basically Deku does that. It's basically Deku, he's now sitting on Sun Wukong's lap, looking at Wukong in the eyes as Wukong says, "I am the infamous and dangerous Monkey King Sun Wukong," as basically the Jade Emperor says, "Alright, Wukong, that's enough." As Wukong says, yeah, I'm not trying to scare him or anything. As basically, that's kind of what happens. As basically, the polite ones. Like, I swear, it'd always be the gods of death that be polite as hell. Like, let's be honest here. Greek mythology. What was that nigga's name? Oh my god. I was legitimately thinking about this nigga's name. Like, just today, for the past 3 hours, I have been thinking of that man's name. Like, I was legitimately saying it. And I forgot. Hold on. For one of the gods that has the easiest name to say, it's easily forgettable as well. Anubis. It's basically, Anubis and Hades woke up, or scam likely. I'm not dealing with this shit today. It's basically, Anubis and Hades walk up as basically they get on one knee. They both pat Izuku's shoulder, looking at each other and smirking, because, well, they just know that, oh shit, we the polite ones. You know the vibes. It's basically... Now, Izuku, he didn't know this, alright? Izuku did not know this, but he did one of the most possible and impossible things known to man, which was unite not a whole, place, like a whole kingdom of gods. No. He united almost all the world, the main 4. Indian gods are a part of the main 5, but we're talking about the main 4. So, yeah. It's basically 4 gods, but it won't have an impact on the world. It's just that shit will start looking brighter. The days will start looking brighter. Let me go get some water. That water was nice. So yeah, Deku does that as without knowing. It's basically. So yeah. So basically, Deku, he continues to talk to the gods, get to know them better, and he's gotten to know them better than any human has. Well, any human in my what ifs have. But that's gonna change soon. Real soon, but we don't care about that for now. What stays in the future stays in the future. If it doesn't come out in the future, I'm probably dead or I'm too lazy. So yeah. Yeah, I won't hesitate to say it. Like, shit. If I don't post, like, one of these days, it's probably, I'm either like, taking a break. Just taking a break. That 1 or 2 day break. Or I'm thinking, or I'm probably dead. It's either one of those. But most likely, the break. It's not that I'm unwilling to die. It's just that death can't take me. So yeah. So basically, Deku, he continues to watch. He watches patiently while talking to them and stuff like that, and they're telling him his stories and stuff like that. As basically, that's when the main 4 remember, oh shit, they have to give Izuku their powers. Or what they think they're gonna give, at least. As basically, Deku, he goes and, he gets up with all the other gods, and they're about to give him his power. All he has to do is, shake his hands, or at least, yeah, he just has to shake their hands, as basically, but, when Izuku shakes their hands, he shakes their hands, yes, approval. The power hasn't come in, the power hasn't started transferring yet, but after he's done shaking the hands of all those gods, that's when something unexpected happens. Really unexpected. As all of a sudden, it wasn't taking the powers from the main gods that I just spoke of. No. All of a sudden, all of the gods. That includes the seven deadly sins and stuff like that, Buddha and shit like that. They started having their powers taken. As if he's not taking their power, their stamina or anything. No. It's as if he's an exact replica of their abilities. As basically Deku takes their powers as he says, huh? What's going on? As basically the gods are just chatting amongst themselves, talking about how Izuku legitimately, respectfully just took their abilities like it was nothing and doesn't even know. As Zeus, he says, alright, we'll ignore it for now. If something gets out of hand, the one with that ability will be there to train you, alright, Izuku? As Izuku says, alright then. As Izuku says, but how do I use the powers? As the gods look and says, well, Shazam won't work, so we'll allow you to use the abilities freely. But remember, the powers you hold are the powers of gods, so we use them wisely. As Izuku says, okay. As they snap, and basically, Izuku, he wakes up to see that he's in the hospital. He says, huh? As he looks to his side and he sees Inko. He says, Mom? As Inko gets up immediately and she hugs Izuku and she starts crying, saying, you've been asleep for a week now. As Izuku says, huh? As she says, oh, thank God you're awake. I thought you were in danger. As basically, yeah. So basically, Deku, he says, don't worry, Mom. I'm not in danger. As Inko says, I'm glad you're not, Izuku. As basically, hold on. So yeah, Deku, he wakes up. They tell him what happened. As basically, Deku gets discharged a whole day later, or a day later. As basically, he goes home with Inko. Now, things were going all swell. Alright, everything was going well, fine, shit like that, good, Gucci, stuff like that. Okay, A-okay, okay. So, yeah, until 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, Inko hugged Izuku. As all of a sudden, she felt this, not sting, but this feeling of affection, not of a mother towards Izuku, but that of a lover. As she proceeds to undress Izuku, bring him to the room, and start doing things. Inko, not knowing what's going on, does not give in to her lust. She's trying to fight. Alright, she's trying to fight back, does not know what's going on, and she's kind of sad. She's over here crying on the inside, because, well, this is her child and she's scared. As basically, all of a sudden, Inko gets knocked out while Izuku is screaming, Mom, stop! Mom! As basically, he gets passed. As basically, Inko passes out, as Izuku looks up to see, well, none other than Aphrodite! Yay! Yeah, in this one, Aphrodite does not have the blonde hair as seen in Mythology. As basically, Aphrodite says, hello there, Izuku. As Izuku says, Miss Aphrodite. As Aphrodite says, no, just Aphrodite. As he says, Aphrodite. As she, well, smiles as she says, well, seeing as, well, how things have gotten, seems I must train you how to control my abilities. As Izuku says, that's your power. As Aphrodite says, yes, sorry about that, Izuku. As Izuku says, it's okay. As Aphrodite says, well, shall we go back to Valhalla? As he says, huh? Valhalla? I thought you live in Olympus. As she says, well, some complications happened, and ever since you formed the contract with, well, the main four gods, you'll understand when you get there. As he says, okay. As Izuku, he follows her as they go. As Izuku reaches out to Valhalla, and he sees just Valhalla. As he goes inside and he sees the same gods he saw, as he says, wait, weren't you guys separate gods? As they said, well, as the four gods said, well, you convinced us to use our powers to help the world, not to use it to destroy it. So, we decided to form a contract with one another thanks to your help. As Izuku says, my help? I didn't do anything. As Odin says, oh, on the contrary, you did a lot, young Izuku. You form a contract with all four of us at once was the stepping stone of this alliance. As Izuku says, oh, I get it now. As Aphrodite says, as Zeus says, speaking of which, Izuku, why are you here? As Aphrodite says, he's awakened the powers, but he doesn't know how to use them. Especially not my ability. As Odin says, right. Very well then, we will train him in our abilities. As basically, Deku, he goes, to, all the other gods, and they train him in his respective abilities. The abilities he had he was not able to use that much with Aphrodite's abilities and Freya. Because, Aphrodite and Freya, aphrodisiac effect, but also with Freya, she also wields the power of infinity, as seen in Danmachi, which she's able to create dimensions with almost, she's able to create one dimension with almost infinite dimensions with infinite space. So, she harnesses the power of infinity. But with the power of space and time, he was able to understand that power even further. After he's done with that, he goes to, Tartarus. No, not Tartarus. Damn, what was that shit called? The place in hell where they keep the Titans. As, basically, they're not afraid to send Izuku. Like, Izuku has trained with the gods. And time was slowed down. Alright? Time was slowed down. Izuku was absent for a whole 2 months from school. Inko said he was sick. So, yeah. But she doesn't know the situation, but all she knows is that Izuku, he somehow has this aphrodisiac power that he's probably training right now. So, she says, okay. As, basically, Inko, she understands the situation, because, one of the messengers of God, Hermes, the messenger of God is Hermes, we all know that. He said that, and she said, okay. And it's basically, Izuku, he trains under the other gods. It's basically, Izuku continues his training. He traveled with Odin around places, trying to get newfound knowledge, even further his knowledge. Not only that, he's not only learning from Odin, but also teaching Odin. Odin finds that he gets a lot of things in return by teaching Izuku the things that he has already learned in his life. Because not only now does he have somebody on his equal level of thinking, but also somebody that's possibly even smarter than him. So they were cool with sending him to, the Titans, which they sent him to the Titans to meet Kronos. As Zeus says, Father, come here. As Kronos, they hear big stomps, and Kronos comes and says, what is it, Zeus? As Zeus says, this young man right here is my champion, and you are to teach him of your abilities. As Kronos laughs, a big laughter, and he says, you expect me to believe a 5-year-old child is your champion? I knew I couldn't expect anything of you, my youngest child. I wish I swallowed you that day, just like your other siblings. As basically, that's when Kronos gets hit with a thunderbolt to the face, as he looks back and he says, who did that? Zeus! As Zeus says, not me. As he says, huh? As he looks at Izuku, who is wielding lightning in his hand with a furious look in his eyes, and he says, if you ever say that to Big Brother Zeus, I'll kill you, as he throws another thunderbolt at Kronos, but this time with more force, sending Kronos flying. As Kronos, he's surprised by this, as Kronos, he says, "Move out the way," as he proceeds to understand why Zeus has chosen him. This boy has a lot of potential. As Kronos, all of a sudden, an arrow appears as he throws it at Izuku. As Izuku, not knowing what it is, but Zeus and friends knowing, Zeus tried to push him out the way because this is a time freezing arrow. This arrow freezes, well, not everything around you, but just you in general. It just freezes you. You're able to breathe, oxygen is still going inside your body and being changed, but you won't be able to move your body. Your body is just slowed down. Not exactly frozen, because if you froze him, Izuku would have been dead. He's not exactly immortal right now. As Izuku, seeing as it's an arrow coming from Kronos, who's the god of time, he probably guessed that this is either a time-speeding arrow to make him age faster, or a slowness arrow to make him stop moving slower and slower. So, Izuku, hold on. As Izuku puts out his hand, as it hits him, as Kronos laughs and says, "Zeus, you have an idiotic champion." As Izuku, he starts to move, as his hands start crackling into a ball, as Kronos is shocked and he says, "How? Impossible. I've slowed you down to the point where you shouldn't be able to make normal movements." As Izuku says, "Concept of time has no effect on somebody who wields existence," as he proceeds to suck the essence of time out of that arrow. As he proceeds to imbue his hand with time, he jumps and he swings his fist, breaking through the cell which held the Titans, and punching Kronos in the face, sending Kronos flying back. As basically, that's what happened. As basically, that happened. As the other Titans saw this as a chance to get out and attack the gods, but Izuku wasn't having it. As Izuku, he raised up his hand as if he was holding something. As he closed his hand, as all of a sudden, Kronos saw, one by one, his Titan brethren being killed. As Kronos is yelling, "Stop it!" as he's crying now. For the first time in Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades' life, they're seeing a look of sadness, sorrow in their father's eye. As basically, Izuku says, "If you want me to stop it, make me." As Kronos, he's pissed by this, as he now starts using time to its full capabilities now. As he tries to pause time around Izuku, but Izuku says, "Even without existence at my side, infinity beats all." As basically, Izuku, he enhances the time in his body, making himself infinite, as the time around Izuku is just infinite, and Kronos is not able to actually close it off, as Kronos is like, "Boy, you shall not hinder me," as he goes to swing at Izuku, and he punches Izuku, sending him flying, as basically Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades watches their father get out, as he says, "I will defeat you," as Izuku starts growing. He starts growing to the size of Kronos, as the two go into a fierce clash of using time and Izuku's abilities, as basically Kronos thinking he won, since now Izuku is a bigger target. As Izuku, he makes a circle with his hand and says, four elemental seal as he proceeds to imbue his hand with the essence of the four elements. As he proceeds to land a punch in Kronos' chest. As that punch ends up leaving a mark on Kronos' chest. As Kronos goes flying, as Kronos gets up to use his ability but sees that his time is not usable. As Kronos says, "Impossible, what have you done?" As Izuku says, "The moment I punched you, I sealed your abilities with the main four elements." As he said, "That's impossible. The main four elements don't have an affinity on me." As he says, "You're right. But the essence of your mother does." As he's surprised, as Kronos' eyes widen, he says, "What? How do you have the essence of my mother?" As he says, "I have been trained by your mother. I have been trained by your mother Gaia." As he proceeds to just land a furious barrage of punches on Kronos' upper body. Not his lower half, because, well, we don't really care about that. As Kronos is knocked out, thrown back into the cell, and sealed away with even stronger materials. As Izuku has made it himself, as basically Zeus says, "Who will teach you of time now?" As Izuku says, I don't need him to teach me. I've stolen his affinity for time. I've also stolen his knowledge." As he says, "What?" As Hades says, "Ah, right, I forgot about that ability of his." As he says, "What?" As Zeus and Poseidon look at him and he says, "What ability?" As Hades says, "Izuku has created an ability of his own that surpasses that even of gods." As Izuku has a fight, it doesn't matter whether you talk to him or not. If you show any form of contact with him, or have any relations to him, the longer you're entangled with him in any matter, whether it be a fight, hugging, shaking hands, or just having a simple conversation, he gets closer and closer into your mind, to the point where he can access not just your memories of your abilities, but all of your memories. As Zeus, Poseidon look at Izuku, as they said, "You don't," as Izuku says, "That's for me to know and you to find out." As he says, "What? How do you know what we're gonna say next?" As Poseidon says, "That includes the ability to know of your future thoughts due to your personalities." As the two says, "Damn it." As Poseidon says, "Well, that's fine." As Zeus, he goes. They go back to Valhalla, where Izuku, he's had more of, well, a relationship with Beastis and, well, Aphrodite. Yes, she is also one of the ships. Yes, two ships. We're gonna keep it that way. As basically, yeah, Bastis and Anubis aren't a thing in this one. Yeah, forgot to say that. So yeah. So basically, Izuku, he understands. The gods are talking to Izuku, and Zeus says, "I think it's time for you to return back to your world, Izuku. For us, you have been with us for more than an eternity due to your ability to speed up time in Valhalla. The time gods can only extend time in Valhalla by at least a few thousand years, but you have exceeded that to possibly eternities and eternities to come." As Izuku says, "Alright then." As before he goes, Aphrodite not picks him up because Izuku is tall. Nah. Well, to the gods, Izuku is taller, about 5'9", same height as the two. And that is basically the Aphrodite kisses him, then Beastis has kissed him, as everybody's surprised, because, well, those two are not that much active when it comes to, well, love life. Even though Aphrodite is the goddess of love. I think she's the goddess of love, compassion, and shit like that. She's not. She doesn't really have a love life. So the fact that this happened without the help of heroes is surprising. As basically the two say, "Love you, bye." As Izuku says, "It's not like you guys can't come see me anytime." As the two said, "Yeah, you're right, but still this seemed appropriate." As Izuku says, "Alright, alright." As Deku, he proceeds to wave them off and get teleported back into his, well, body. Well, not exactly. He teleports back inside of the house, and Inko sees him, and he says, "Izuku, how are your abilities?" Izuku says, "I can control them." Now, Inko has noticed some significant changes in Izuku's body. His skin has gotten more of a yellow color, as you see in the picture. His hair is now blonde. His eyes have gotten a bloodshot red color. And she doesn't know why, but she has this distinct feeling that she's in front of a god. But she knows this is her son, so she's not worried about anything, because she knows Izuku wouldn't attack her. As she says, "Well, I hope you have to get ready now." As she says, "Huh?" As Inko says, "Well, you haven't been in school for a week. I told them because it was of absence, and it turned out that, well, you got put into the next year." As Izuku says, oh, okay. That's where I'm gonna be leaving it off. Yeah. Seems it won't be a one-shot. I'll try to make it a two-shot, that's all. Yeah. I'll probably end it at the next part. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'm sorry about the whole basicallys thing. I say that a lot. I don't think that'll ever change. But hey, it's for the best, right? Yeah, it is. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Lotus Woodis with part 1 of What If Deku Was Shazam. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.